254 years with the Royal Proclamation, has not been pretty. It has been 254 years of a violent, genocidal attack of epic proportions that the world perhaps has never seen in its specificity and its systematic oppression. The past 254 years, starting with King George III saying, "Everything is mine." In fact, we were going through the Mi'kmaq Acadian settlements. All of that was canceled out by King George III. Any relationship that was built up to that moment, King George III said, "Everything is mine."
And by the way, I believe the last tally on the child welfare case is Canada spent $8 million fighting that case. So these are significant problems, and they really do have an impact on Indigenous communities' well-being. So this is a little chart that the Department of Indigenous Affairs developed. They compare well-being in Indigenous communities to non-Indigenous people. And it goes from 1981, if you can see it, to 2011. They were using the latest statistics that they had at the time. And the blue line is non-Indigenous people in Canada. The red is Inuit, and the gold is First Nations. And what you'll see is that although there's generally been a trend upwards for everyone in terms of community well-being, there's been a persistent 20-point gap between non-Indigenous people and First Nations.
And so, even the federal government's own community wellness index, their well-being index, shows that that gap I talk about hasn't closed since 1981. Since 1981. 35 years. And that's something First Nations people face every day. And Canadians are waking up to that reality. They know that. But through the good work of the TRC Calls to Action, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it's educated people.
You will permit me to say that I've never in my adult life experienced an introduction quite like that. But I think I should also say, in order to restore my own sense of self, that while I walk straight, I most emphatically lean left. I really deeply appreciate that introduction, and it is true that the grandmothers of Canada have become a kind of intellectual international icon. In the AIDS movement generally, the position of grandmothers and the extraordinary role they play on the African continent, in some countries looking after 40 to 50% of the orphan population, women in their 60s and 70s and 80s, many of them themselves struggling with HIV,